And we are live! Hello everyone, welcome back to Artist Mindset. I'm your host Martina, and welcome to the episode. Today, I brought my little notebook, and as you can see, I have a proper equipment. I think it already sounds better than the last time when I was in a studio, proper studio. But just having a good equipment doesn't mean anything if you don't know how to use it. So, I want to talk about acceptance, because it's so easy to compare yourself to somebody that you are not. Just try to take a moment, reflect about that statement that I just said, because I truly think a lot of us creative people and artists does that, including me, of course. Otherwise I wouldn't be talking about it, right? If I cannot relate to this statement, how could I try to talk about this today, right? And I will be today kind of getting inspired by a book that I've read. It's called The Knight in the Rusted Armor, and I remember it was, I think, released first time in the 1922. You can just look it up. It's on Z Library, where you can download it for free. This is not sponsored, by the way. It's just, that's how I found it and got it for free, so I could read it right away and don't have to pay. And the book is really amazing, and I could relate so much to that, because in the book, basically, spoiler alert, if you want to read it, maybe don't listen to this episode, I'm sorry. But I also feel like it's very generic information that everybody can relate to. And basically in the book, the knight wears his armor, right? The same way we kind of present ourselves in the best light possible, right? Especially if we are like in a public or with other people. And I definitely do that as well. And you know, you might think that you do it to protect others. But selfishly, I feel like there is this little part of us inside that is kind of a little bit selfish and maybe doesn't want to admit it yet. That we do it to actually protect ourselves. And just to share my story a little bit, I feel like I'm a chronic people impresser. I don't want to call people pleaser, but you could say it's on the same spectrum if you're into mental health and all these kind of things. It is kind of very similar thing, because of course you are trying to do things for others, right? But at the same time I feel like it is a little bit selfish, because I am trying to do things for others so that they perceive me as a nice person, right? So it's kind of me trying to control the narrative of me in others people's minds. I hope that makes sense for you. Which is impossible, right? You cannot control how other people perceive you, right? You cannot control what they are gonna think of you or what kind of opinion they're gonna make, right? Of course you're gonna try to show the best side of you and be nice and kind, but it doesn't mean that they're gonna think that you're nice and kind. Like, it's impossible, right? And that's what I wanted to talk about today, because once we accept that we don't have any control over that, and that we have no control over that, you know, life becomes better again. And in the book, for example, the knight, he goes to Merlin, the magician, probably you heard of him, and because his, like, the helmet is closed, he cannot eat or drink by himself. So Merlin gives him a straw through the holes in his, helmet, so that he can drink water. And of course, at first the water tastes very bitter, but after a bit he kind of realizes, this is kind of nice and tastes good. And then towards the end, when he's almost finished with the glass of water that Merlin gave him, he thinks, wow, this is really sweet. Like, I really like it. Can you give me more? And then Merlin just told him that, oh, that's kind of like life, right? Once you accept it, it becomes sweeter. It starts to taste sweet, right? In the beginning, it's kind of bitter and not so good, but then the more you live it, the sweeter it gets, the more you sort of accept. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I think it's very important, you know, like also animals, they don't expect things. They just accept. And they are happier in that sense, right? And it's not that you are happier because you are smarter or you're richer or something. It's because you accept things and people for what they are and who they are. But the same way you should accept yourself. So just try to reflect for a while. What would happen, or how would you feel if you would finally accept that you are the person that you are and you were born to do the things that you are doing, or that you feel in your core and in your bones and in your heart that is meant for you, that is meant for you to do. And now, of course, everybody can relate, but as an artist, I feel like a lot of creative people and artists can relate to this, because I am pretty sure that some of you had doubts or moments of uncertainty. I certainly had, in which you kind of question, okay, is this really for me? Or, you know, deep down you know that this is what you are meant to do, and this is who you are meant to be. But there is this kind of doubt that creeps in. Maybe because of a critique that you received, or maybe because it seems like people are not noticing enough of what you did, and as you hoped they would notice, and as much as you hoped they would notice. But what would happen if you were just accepting that, you know? Okay, no matter what people say or do or don't do, I will not expect them to do that. I just accept that this is how it is, and I accept that I am who I am, and I'm meant to do whatever I'm doing right now, because this is for me. It is my path. I am born an artist, or I am born a creative, or whoever you feel like you are born and meant to be. What happens if you accept that? Okay, I'm born an artist, and this is what I'm meant to do. And it doesn't mean that it's gonna be easy, but there is no other way. What happens if you just accept that? And you stop questioning all the what ifs, and you stop beating yourselves up because you feel like there is something else you should be doing, or people expect something from you, or maybe your family expects you to move back home. I certainly struggle with that a lot. I love my family, and I would love to live with them and near them, but it's not the time yet. And it's kind of like taking the wedding vows again and again and again, and you commit each time. Okay, I commit, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm meant to do. And you stop trying to seek all the answers for your questions getting answered by other people, because how can somebody answer a question about yourself better than yourself? And that's why it's also, I think, important to spend some time alone to finally hear your voice, finally hear yourself, because how else can you love yourself more other than getting to know yourself more? Because only you know what you really want and love to do and love to feel. So also try to listen to yourself. And it's of course not going to be easy, and it might feel solitary at times, and even sad maybe. But let yourself feel all those emotions that you have to feel. And listen. Listen to yourself the same way you would listen to a friend or a family member or anyone that you love. And listen, because you have to learn, and the only way to learn about yourself is to listen and show kindness, and yourself will tell you what it needs, what that inner child or inner grandmother maybe needs at a time, so that you can give it to yourself. Because nobody can answer questions about yourself better than you. Nobody can do that. So really listen to yourself to get all the answers, and don't feel like there is expected anything from you. Because expectations really most likely lead only to disappointment. But once you accept, wow, that's a whole nother story, right? And stop feeling like you're not enough, because it's so easy to say, I'm expected, I'm not enough. But what if you accept that? What if you accept that you are who you are, and that's enough? And it doesn't mean that you cannot grow from that. That's not what I'm saying. But what if you accept, okay, this is who I am, this is where I'm at, this is what I have, and what do I do now? It's the same way when you wake up in the morning and you're expecting a nice weather, right? And suddenly it's raining. And what happens? You get disappointed. But what if you wake up and you just accept and you don't expect? Okay, it's raining. I stayed inside and I do all the things that I can do inside today. And when the sun comes out, I enjoy it, because when it's the time, the sun will come out. It's not forever that it's gonna rain. Doesn't it sound better? Doesn't it sound easier and more calm and just sweet? Like life? So truly try to accept. And I know that I'm very privileged by where I live and what resources do I have, and I understand that not everybody has that, and it's not to say that we all have to accept our circumstances. I mean, no. And I don't want to sound like I'm naive or ignorant towards what's happening in the world. But I think most of us, or the people that I know or listen, can benefit from that. And it's just a reminder that I'm trying to make. And I hope that it's useful to you or anyone that you share this with, if you do. And I think that's all for this episode. Just accept instead of expecting, and see what happens. See if life suddenly tastes sweeter and you can live more. And if you're interested in more episodes, or you want to read the book, I'm going to link it down below, because I cannot remember the full name now, but The Knight in the Rusted Armor, our best friend in this episode. So I hope it made sense for you and that you enjoyed it and you got anything out of it. Let me know down in the comments. I'll be really interested to read it. I love to hear stories from you or any messages that you send. And have a beautiful Monday, beautiful start of the week. And you can follow me on social media, or give a like, or subscribe to support me. I will be extremely grateful, and I hope that you have a beautiful start of the week. Have a beautiful Monday, beautiful day, beautiful morning, beautiful evening, and good night. No, we are not in the Truman Show, but I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye!